we say that quotation was? Do not go gently into that good night. Yeah, so that's what I don't want to do.
Said earlier, I've been around now for a long time. Looks like I might be able to be around for another while longer. It gives you a lift. Like I told Roisin that it take 5 years off of my life every day she comes out. I said, I'm not coming for 2 weeks now. I said, go and get that 10 year back again.
Lovely, find that sway. Here we go, using the arms. And arms. And arms, beautiful. Good, bringing that left arm across. My name is Roisin Whelan and I'm a dance artist here based in Carlow. I work as a performer, choreographer and a facilitator. I work across collaborations with other people and make and work myself. And then I also work as a facilitator, so running some large scale projects like the one that we're doing, Doorstep Dances. I was really fortunate to have Visual come and ask me to kind of come up with a creative solution for doing dance in the middle of the pandemic, which is obviously difficult as it is. I myself was in the first lockdown, was stuck in a tiny little flat in London with 2 other people. So came up with this idea to go one-to-one to participants' homes so that they could have this kind of one-on-one with people and really get to know someone else and get to move with someone else in the comfort of their own homes. Shoulder down, back of the hand, flick the wrist. So when I get to a participant's home for the first time, it's always so different. So I usually have a plan and then I arrive and I get to meet them and I throw it out the window and I start again. Then every week I can kind of build upon what we've done that first week and make things longer and work on stamina and balance and all these things. Week on week I see this development in people where the nervousness of God, I have to move goes away. Sitting down and just having a chat with them makes such a difference. You do see people move so much further than they've ever moved before. There's always this element that it's slightly unstable at the beginning, and then a couple of weeks in, everything just seems to flow and they have this stability and this confidence in themselves they didn't have before. Side together. Lovely, stepping side. With the moving, people start moving and then they're like, oh, I did this 40 years ago, and then they're thrown back to this memory from a certain place, or they're brought back to a dance hall they used to be in, or a certain type of music they used to listen to. And it's always lovely to hear those stories of people kind of travelling back through time through the dancing. Relaxing. The other hand, relaxing. 2 hands come up. If we're in a good space mentally, we'll move so much more freely, and I think that dance brings that element to it because you're thinking about the music and the rhythm and all these other things. Your mind kind of switches off, all those worries go away and you're suddenly moving more than you have moved in so long. So physically, yeah, there is this capability that everyone has, but I think if we can get our minds to open up a bit more, actually the capacity for what our bodies can do is massive. Lovely, that looks great. Yeah, relax for a second, take a minute everyone. Hand, then the other hand. Then we push the fingers to the side. Lovely, to the side, really nice. Pushing to the side, crossing and stepping. Nice, good, it's so good for the balance. Crossing and stepping, good.
I own and operate the Med in Carlow Gallery on Tullow Street. I thought this would be a fun thing to participate in. And it's wonderful to have an experienced dance instructor come by your house once a week and give you some good stretching exercise and try and teach you a few dance moves. For me, I can feel my body. It feels good.
Hand, just one hand first, then the other hand. Then we push the fingers to the side. Lovely, to the side, really nice. Pushing to the side.
Well, I learned it in junior high school in America. You know, you had gym class, you did your jumping jacks and your push-ups, but this is a total different thing. This is dance. I am able to get into this. There's a sense of enjoyment in it. A good laugh.
Bow and arrow, so no stepping first time.
Oh, okay.
Just the hands.
Yeah.
Bow and arrow, swapping around, beautiful. Then stepping forwards, then stepping back. Then we bring the hands involved. So the hands now, they're going to push all the way up, and we're going to try and push them as far out as we can. So rather than bending the arms in, we really try and reach out.
Up in here, you tend to get out of shape.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, that's
You're
where,
not
yeah.
doing loads of
Maybe it's the
twisting.
beer I'm drinking, I don't know.
Having too much fun on your birthday, that's all it is.
Yeah. I was very good at not dealing with those little things. I should have been dealing with my balance. I've asked Roisin last week. She said, is there anything in particular you want to work on? And I said, balance. Just seeing the simple exercises she gave me today, I was thinking, why haven't I been doing these the last 30 years? You know? But you don't. You know, we're probably like the dog that's limping still, even though he's no longer hurt. You know?
And then we have it up, and down, and down. Back of the hands, back of the hands. Flip, flip. 2 hands out. Flip, drop down. 2 hands out.
I am just about retired from pharmacy. This has been a wonderful experience and a wonderful discovery. I think it saved my life after lockdown, basically.
Then we repeat that back that we went. Side, together, side, together. We take that step back, together. So it's almost like a rectangle because you've gone this way. So if we did it all together.
So the first one is a step forward and the second one is a step back.
Yeah, exactly. So we have side, together, step forwards.
The creative side is astonishing. The first day she came here, we chose our own music. And one of the pieces, when Roisin played it, it was so emotional. It made me cry. I didn't know where this was coming from, but it was fabulous, and fabulous to feel it.
One hand up, pull down. One hand up, lovely Margaret, pull down. 2 hands cross over, opening up. And then we have that snake up and up and up, push down.
When I was in that kind of locked in state, you begin to lose confidence. And I would always find an excuse not to walk a certain distance. And now I'm pushing myself a bit further, I'm going a bit further. So I'm actually rediscovering confidence. It's a mental improvement as well as a physical one.
Do you feel like you have? I think you definitely have.
Oh, well, I feel better.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
definitely feel better. So that's why I cannot give up.
No. Don't ever give up. Good, turns up. And flip. Push it out, push it in. And a flip. And drop. We have up, up, in, elbow, elbow, drop. Hand, hand, 2 hands in, 2 hands out. Drop down. Good. Even I did it wrong at the end. Drop, drop. Hi, Tom. Morning.
Morning.
How are you doing?
Good.
And how was your body after last week?
As the ad says, Alicia, don't you know yourself? I live here in this is an old farmhouse which I renovated. I used to do a bit of building in my time. To start the movements again was really wonderful. I didn't think I could do them. I think it was a great achievement for Roisin to get me to tip my toes. I'm 85 years of age, I'm proud to be able to do that.
Don't worry about touching the ground if you can't, or if it's...
Yeah, we have to touch the ground.
We have to touch the ground. We don't have any alternative. From here, we're just going to reach up, we're going to breathe in, and then you almost imagine, and you like let everything go.
I was always interested in the Navy, and eventually the chance came when I left school was to join. I went down to Devonport, and the naval base there, HMS Raleigh, so I went in there as a recruit. The things you have to do in training is PT, physical training, and that's fairly tough. But we were down in Devon, and that was quite a nice place to be anyway. Brings back memories of being out square bashing, to call it. So I only picked out the march, the steps used, and then you get a rifle. We have to go a little bit different then. Or you be swinging the 2 hands, just marching. You'll be only swinging 1 hand with a rifle.
And into our slow march. Forwards.
Used to go 2 or 3 nights a week dancing. And you meet different people in different places all over the country. Every Sunday morning is a dance session for me. When I hear it on the radio, I dance around the kitchen with the sweeping brush. Both of us love dancing. We entered, our first competition was in the Fighting Cocks. They used to have a big dance floor. We got 4th place. That sort of encouraged us, and eventually we worked our way up to 1st place. We were well dressed. My outfit was a black suit, white shirt and a red tie. My wife had a black skirt and a white top. And then she would have gold shoes.
Back the other way.
I get lost in music. When Roisin puts on that music there, I don't see you, I don't see anybody. It gets to my head and then goes to my feet. I can do what I'm thinking.
Beautiful. Look at that, like perfect. You don't even need to do it in the crossing over. Yeah, exactly. It's like we're dancing together now.
Exactly, yeah. So there'll be a walking competition every week somewhere. It could be any part of the county, in halls and pubs. There was a lot of rivalry, even though everybody was friends. When they go out on the dance floor, friendship ended because everybody wanted to win. That was my attitude. I always played to win. Competition, that was it. There was no nice thing about it. I let you win, you let me win. Put to the board the whole time.
Well, myself and Roisin, I remember asking her, could I do some drawings of her dancing, because I was interested in that sense of movement in contemporary dance. I think the fact that we were outside, people can be inside and you can have a very safe and a very controlled environment. But when you're outside, like, it could rain, it could shine. I mean, there was one day that we were out in Hackettstown and my God, the heat and the sun. People were so delighted to be out. We're so delighted to be together, having chats, having conversations, just that human contact again after a period of not having it, that people just went with it and accepted the reality of what was around them and worked with it.
The opposite way. Think like elbow to the sky.
Yeah.
That helps me.
Oh yeah.
Elbow to the sky. Perfect.
Yeah.
Then we do shoulder forwards, other shoulder, elbow. Exactly. Back of the wrist and up. It's funny because that's obviously, do you write with your right hand?
Yeah.
So when you do this, it's really quick on that hand because you obviously use it more.
Yeah.
And then the left hand,
It's
I can see
slower.
is like
yeah.
trying to figure it out, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
But we'll go.
So what you do? You go into your.
So you go into your, drop your hand. So you'll drop this hand, then you'll bring your elbow up, which is the hard part. So you have
That's
to
really hard, yeah. And,
flat, and then you do shoulders.
Yeah.
And then you'll swap shoulder. Then you'll do elbow up.
I feel I'm going to fall over.
So it's like how they do, you know, when they do this.
Oh yeah.
That's exactly how they do it. They just learn this way first. But it's really good for our brains. It's really hard.
Oh
to do.
yeah. Yeah.
So each participant really does have their own creative output that they love. John, for example, how important music has been to him in his life, that it kind of just brings him back to a place, or it allows him to kind of go into this other world where he can just go off, and I feel like he doesn't think about his age or doesn't think about the isolation. He doesn't think about the fact that maybe he's not danced in so long because he's been on his own. It just shows that he's allowing the music to kind of take him somewhere else. I think it really allows him to tap into a part of his life that he's missed for so long.
My passion would be drama, the Little Theatre, the Irish Drama Group I'm involved with as well. It just takes you outside yourself. A passion for anything is, I suppose it keeps you alive.
The one who lives, the one who
when the wind comes sweeping down the plain, where the waving wheat, it sure smells sweet, and the wind comes right behind the rain. Aye, Uska! Okay! What the hell? I love that song. So, America. Even in the little theatre and the rehearsals, I feel a little bit freer to open up. I just thought, oh my God, if I could only stand on that stage again and do something again and connect with people, because that isolation was awful. I need a connection with people. The doorstep dance, I think, was the key that unlocked it.
That's the nicest way to move.
Yes, well, one of my choices of music was
this one here.
And the first day she played it, I started to
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, that one. We're going to use it for the next one. So, yeah.
No, this is nice. I have only one sheet of paper.
I think in the 50s and 60s, drama, the little theatre, it certainly wasn't developed or allowed to be developed. Things were very basic. It was survival, I suppose. And I used to create a stage at home in the shed. I know that doesn't mean I'm any good on stage, but at least I love it. That doesn't matter. Whether I'm good or not, I just love it.
Side, in front, side, behind, stepping it together, good catch, open up, bring it down, stepping, side, in front, side, lovely, behind, bow and arrow, shooting that right arm, shooting the left arm, good, don't worry, it's fine, now take the step, and stepping back. Good, yes, good. Yeah, don't worry, you just keep stepping. It looks lovely. It's great. Yeah, good. That was good save with the. There's no like worry about the speed because it goes with the music anyway. So just take the time that it takes, you know, to do the movement. Yeah. You were actually perfectly on the music anyway. Oh, good. Naturally, so natural musicality.
I knew a good painter in California, and he had a great quality about him. He was very successful and everything, but if he saw the most amateur piece of work, he would go out of his way to find something he genuinely liked about that piece of work. He would find one stroke of the brush, because there was some pretty poor stuff. And I saw him and he was praising this one little part of it. And he said, we got to encourage. I hope I never lose that. It's something you have to be put in the front of your mind all the time, that your job is not to be the critic, but to be the person that encourages. Because one thing I've seen here is if a person brings in stuff, usually the second batch of paintings they bring in are much better. And if they sell something, it's another step. They improve. I'm most proud of that aspect of what we've accomplished here, is that we're still encouraging everybody and giving them an opportunity to grow as an artist.
Great. Great, and then coming to a stop with that left arm crosses the body, opens all the way up. Good, right arm crosses the body, opens all the way up. Two arms go across the body, open up.
I always believed that flying was something I would never be able to do. It was to watch the planes go over and say, wouldn't it be lovely to be able to fly one of them. Travel was a nice part of it. I used to go fly down to Waterford, Cork, Limerick. I've been across the sea over to a place in Wales called Haverfordwest. One of the great achievements is to be up there on your own. The first time the instructor tells you, take her away. You know it's coming up, but he doesn't tell you till the last minute.
Yeah. Here we go. So we have hand, snake. top arm opens all the way up, comes all the way back. Stepping, side together, hands up, hands down, stepping, hands up.
Rockford House on Monday night. There was a couple there and we were in the competition. I knew this fella was going to beat it. When you're dancing, I'm in front of you. You can't pass me on the outside, and I wouldn't let you pass. If you pass me on the inside, you're disqualified. So that was a trick of the game. He was a lot faster than we were. He could have beaten us if we hadn't to hold him up. So when he came up to me after, he said, "You fucking holding me up."
You don't make it easy, do you?
Beautiful.
How does that feel?
Beautiful.
It's nice to try and copy you, you know, because you like make decisions quite quickly. So sometimes I'm like, oh, is he going to go?
Oh, great.
Good.
No black memories there.
Good. Amazing. I'm glad. Good ones, I hope.
All good ones. Yeah.
All good ones. Brilliant.
There was one lovely moment where Tom, one of the participants, he greeted me one day by saying, "Well, what marks are you going to make today with your chalks?" And for me that became almost like a mantra, where I started asking myself most days, well, what marks am I going to make today with my chalks?
We're going to roll the wrists. Roll the wrists. Hands are going to open up, kind of scooping down like an ice cream. It kind of looks like head, body, and then this is like the movement of the arms.
It is, yeah. And I'm trying to get this, you know, the way you get the arms up.
I like it.
We've had a number of those just really, really special moments where a chat, a dance, a sound, a mark and a laugh outside just have all coalesced into something very rich.
Now turn it. Now do it again now, and halfway through it, turn it. The wind that goes through the barley. Yeah, and then up. Go on up. Go on.
Perfect.
That's it. That's it, Tom.
That's all it is. I can see the resemblance.
That's the big
Me
smile.
and the
Oh, you're ridiculous.
Just meeting up with people has been so important with this, and that sense of connection. And all of that is very expansive, not just within physical practice of drawing, but within my personal life as well. And that has been a great richness.
When I started this programme, I really wanted to give a new outlet and a new outlook on a community engagement programme that had dance at the heart of it. Doorstep Dances has allowed people to blossom in a way we never knew that would be possible before. It's kind of stepped beyond the dancing. That's a huge element of it, and that's the core of what this project is about, and I'm glad that I've gotten people up on their feet and moving. Do you want to learn how to do the moonwalk? Yeah. Okay, cool. So, on right toe up, put it behind. Slide the left leg back. Good, at this point we swap. So this all happens in one go. So this toe and this heel, they almost change where they are. Right toe up, put it behind you. Then you pull, change. Good, and we change. It's really hard outside. It'll be easier in socks. Good, pull, change, exactly.
The fear of the unknown, I think it's part of our human nature. People keep doing the same thing rather than risk. Nobody wants to try something and fail. Well, you can go learn something new. It's healthy. And that's what this is. We all need to have our sense of that we're contributing. I think that's very important for mental health. If you feel like you're accomplishing something, bringing that to the gallery where we all need encouragement. And that keeps me going too. I had one potter, but if a pot doesn't sell, I'll take that home. And then his wife told me he smashes it when he takes it home. I had one piece that no, you're not taking that. You know? Somebody will buy that. Somebody did buy it. I battled that a lot with artists. Oh, that hasn't sold in a long time. That must be no good, or I'll paint over it. No, that's a nice painting. You know, it's just, here, go buy a new canvas. You still kind of have the belief that it'll all work out. Life is good.
I liked doing this so much. The fear of it stopping, I started to look around for other opportunities to move. So instead of that fear, going and doing something else to make sure that I continue. So pole walking. You see, I don't really like walking, but I thought that the poles would actually help, which they did.
Turn, scarecrow, drop down. Up, up, in, elbow, elbow, drop, drop. Good, good. Very good, that was good. This bit's great now. This bit's like super quick. I don't know if you feel that, but it's perfect. This bit is naturally.
And to learn that you can lock yourself in a little world, and it isn't the best for you actually. So it's like a flower. It is opening up opportunities for me.
Just the arms, shoot the arm, shoot the other arm. Stepping forwards, stepping back. Lovely, arms in, breathe out, breathe in. And lovely.
There's a part of me that says, oh, I'm a certain age now. This fatalistic approach, is this it till I pop my clogs? And it's not at all. This is maybe the key. The Dancing with Roisin is the key that's unlocking something for me. Now you're making me cry.
We're working with a lot of people who have made things in various different forms all their life and have worked in different ways all their life, so who are very aware of process.
Well, no, lads, I've no more paper.
You know more paper?
No more paper.
We've been too much inspiration.
That's okay.
Isn't the charcoal so mucky?
Oh, it's fantastic. I
love it?
I never have clean hands.
Really?
Ever,
Oh,
ever,
brilliant.
ever.
What kind of painting is your favourite? Is it acrylic or?
Oh, I work with acrylic.
Yeah,
It just suits my personality.
yeah.
There's loads of layering. That's what
There's lots of layering.
like
yeah.
loads
Yeah.
of tiny layers that
Oh,
build up,
yeah.
and you can kind of see them.
I suppose on each piece there'd be about minimum of maybe 60 layers. I work in
Oh.
very thin layers of
Yeah.
paint. You lay them on, let them dry, but you also get a very deep coloration, almost like stained glass.
We've had funny days like that day down with John where the wind was so strong that the easel was being knocked over, and holding on to the drawings and thinking, how am I going to do this? And then just going with it and just allowing the paper to flap and allowing the easel to wobble while still trying to keep the movement of the shape and the gesture.
Way back, hands right in the middle, stepping. Side together, arms up. Everyone okay? I didn't think the wind was going to be an issue.
What is so lovely about this project is the whole social side of it and the welcome that we have been given.
Side together, just two.
No.
Just two this time. So the
Two
arms.
will do.
Two will do.
Just two will do, because you've got to
yeah,
do
that's
five.
right. But like I remember Joan go for 5.
Yeah.
Don't go over five.
Well, when I was going out dancing, I used to drink 10 pints of Guinness every night.
What's your nature?
And I never sweated. And you see people and their shirts would be stuck to their back with the
Well,
sweat.
that was me.
The experience of being outside drawing, being comfortable, being sociable, being with people. It's not just the drawing, it's the whole package of that human contact and the flow of that contact.
Flip and drop. 2 hands up. Flip the hands. Push them out. Push them in. Flip. Drop. 1 hand up. Other hand up.
The other thing I never forget is the Royal Navy You never see a sailor walking around with his hands in his pockets. And I was coming back from the Naffy one night with a friend of mine. God, if he wasn't walking with his hands in his pockets and he met an officer, we stopped it. Time to go and grab a rifle and 2 laps of the square with the rifle over his head. He didn't forget, nor I didn't forget.
When my father died, I had to leave the Navy. But I came back to farming then, and I had 7 sisters, and I was the oldest.
There was one job I didn't like, planting spuds and picking them. I had to do it. Sowing the potatoes, putting the potatoes there every 18 inches to go. When you were down the stoops all the time going along. That way I can touch the ground still.
People are inclined to give up and say, well, I'm old now, I won't do that, when you could do it if you really wanted to. No use in giving up before your time. We stay alive as long as we can. There's so much all people can do with a little bit of help.
When you're dancing with a partner, you're going 2 bodies as one. That's what dancing is all about. I've been years of practice now.
Yeah.
Balance.
Yeah, your balance is great, you see. Beautiful.
If you don't enjoy what you're doing, work is hard. I always enjoyed hard work. I never knew anything else. Because I grew up in a time that there was no electricity, no tap water, no toilets, no nothing. Anything that there was hardship in, I was there. People think when they come to 70 years of age that their life is over. I was talking to a man one day and he was fairly active, but he got a walking stick, and I said, what have you a walking stick for? Well, so he says, I'm 70 years of age. Well, so I said, I'm 80 years of age, I don't want a walking stick. But some people, it gets into their mind when they're old, they switch off. I don't. I switch on instead of off. It keeps me going, I push myself every day, and I know my limits. Everybody makes mistakes, and I'd love to meet somebody that hasn't.
It's been incredible to see the physical and mental evolution of people, just their general mobility. I wanted to improve people's confidence, to make sure that they had a great time, had a bit of fun as well. That was very important. Isolation isn't just due to COVID. We see that older people are isolated all the time. But what's been really interesting is the kind of anxieties that you see in the first few weeks. They just seem to have disappeared now over the 6-week cycle. You can see people standing up taller, being more confident. It's a really exciting thing to be able to facilitate and to see this group of people really blossom over a 6-week period.
Creativity is keeping the mind active and the body active. It's a great source of fighting depression once you're occupied. On the final week after 8 weeks, we done it easily. There was no pressure, nobody was panting or blowing or anything. On the whole, no, it's very good for your mental health. You really need to have people around you to get up and go and have a routine, a reason to get up in the morning.
Roll. So we have last bit, we have and up, in, down, up, and drop. Great, one last time. Here, to this music, here we go. So we have 7, 8, we have out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in. Other sides, out, in, nice, out, in, roll around. Here we go, we have arm up, in, down, arms up, and drop. Good. That wasn't so bad, right? That was good, that last one. Are we feeling okay? The stamina. We've got the first aid kit ready if anyone goes down.
Physical I could actually tip my toes now. I could only tip my knees before that. I remember passing the road one day and there was €1 and I couldn't get down to get it. Now I could get down to get a penny. We had a man come in one day with a 200-year-old dresser that his grandmother had. It was in a terrible state, and we done it. When the man came in to collect it, he cried. He was so emotional. It brought him right back when he seen it restored, as it was when he knew it as a kid. The drawer where she kept the apples, maybe 75 years ago or 80 years ago. The big thing about the men's shed is you have company.
I think what's really amazing is like the mental shift that we've seen in people. And for me, that's something that I didn't think would be as big of an outcome as it has been. But I'm so happy that it has. You could see the confidence and the joy and bringing back a bit of life to people who maybe felt so alone for so long. Lovely, same again, let's just try that again. Just moving the legs first, just the legs. Little walk through the heels, lovely. Let the arms get involved. Good, pushing a bit bigger. Pushing a bit bigger. Did you feel there was a real shift over the 9 weeks, or was there other things in your life that it helped with, do you think, at all?
Yes, the snake movement really freed up my back. I actually felt it the first night I was going off in the car, and I remember looking to the left and to the right, and Jesus, I was able to, you know, really move with ease, really be able to turn more than I was able to turn, and that continued as we went along on the weeks.
And do you feel like that there's value in doing it, if you were to talk to someone else about it?
Oh yes, to meet you lovely young people with such encouragement and the patience you have with us, you know, it really makes you feel a bit younger.
So as well as facilitating, what I also have been doing, like separate from that, is creating my own work. Today, that's where we've been a day in the studio, and I've been working with Lauren, who's a company dancer for a company that I run. So what's been great is to kind of figure out how to put what I've learned over the last 25 weeks into practice. 1 and 2. Through. And straight away. Hop and hit. Good. Hop. Hit. Good. Make it big in the legs. Good. Nice. Hop. Down. Here we go. Hit. Up and push. Hit. Leg. And around. Yeah, that was way better. Good. I was really excited to have Lauren come on board with me. She's great. She auditioned as a company dancer and she trained professionally. I've been obviously spending time in studio making up these phrases for my Doorstep Dances group, and what's great is to get into the studio with Lauren like I did today and to go through those exercises with her, because she's been helping me facilitate some of these sessions.
You could just do the arm, maybe like up though. You could
okay,
just even go up and then
and
back
then
down or something.
Okay, nice, I like that. Kind of like
Instead,
Aladdin's.
because you're still working your arms.
Yeah.
Rather than your back.
Okay.
Because you're still keeping that.
So let's start with that. So we have stepping side in front, side behind, side together. No turn, just come back the exact same way. Side in front, side behind, side together. Up, down. Just shoot the arms first. Shoot the arm the other way. Stepping forward, shoot. All this movement that might seem so simple, like the snaking, seems really simple movement. Actually, if you added the back and if you added your legs, then it becomes a whole dance phrase that comes in a show where a professional would do. To kind of show people that it's not so far removed from what they're doing, to realise that everything can cross over and they were all transferable skills. Shoot. Change now. Hands in, breathe in. Great, dance inversion. And out. Our Doorstep is to finally get back in person, which is such a nice feeling. And we're going to be heading to the Guardian Bureau. We're going to be running classes once a week on a Wednesday. What I'm really excited about is all these people to meet each other, because they've never met each other and they have no idea they all exist. They've moved the whole way through lockdown and through COVID, and they've come out the other side as a group of people who now not only have like a movement, but they have rhythm and they have style and they have all of these other things that they've taken along the way, and they've got such great personalities that they can show that through movement now. How was your session with Lauren last week?
Very good.
Good? Lots of arm work. Lots of circles. And 3. And 4. And 5. Nice. Lovely, Siobhan. 6, 7, 8. 2 arms up. Pushing down. 2 arms up. We drop. Yeah, almost like down, and then trying to find the circle, and now trying to find the down. It's almost like that roller coaster feeling, isn't it? Of like the vroom, vroom, vroom. The creativity has allowed people to realise that they're worth so much more than they ever thought they were worth, and they have so much more to give. Genuine chats and dialogue and having a cup of tea with someone can mean the world of difference. Sometimes we don't recognise that sometimes all we need to do is sit and talk. Arms up, down, shooting 1, shooting 2, shooting 3, shooting 4, hands together, breath in, drop, back of the hands, flip the wrist, hands out, flip, drop down, hands up. For me, I would love people to take away that it's for everyone. In any shape or form. It can be sitting, it can be standing, it can be just your hands, it can be in your mind, it can be anywhere, and that people recognise that it's something that we should try and embed a bit more into our lives.
Usually I work by myself. I go into my workshop, drawing, painting, and then the specialness of being invited into somebody's home and meeting people and chatting and having cups of tea and laughing really has been wonderful, particularly with older people. We forget chat is very important.
And in, we have back, back, and in, rising up, pushing the hands down. Other side we have front, and back, and side, beautiful, and back to the back. I like that one.
I like that
one. So,
you take your pick.
That's
I like
lovely.
that one.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
Love that one.
You take that one.
Okay, let me pull. You can take more than one. Sure, look at all of them.
To have the opportunity to gift people work, even more so for people to want the drawings. I got great pleasure from that.
Oh, thank you, Bridget. Thank you. Thank you. I feel as if I'm at a book signing.
People are interested to the fact that I'm not going to make a very straightforward drawing. I'm going to make drawings that reflect and echo the shapes and gestures that they're making as they move and as they dance. They're all about the gesture, like that one, like when you were doing that with Roisin. Yeah, I'm following that. I'm looking at rhythm. I'm not looking at shape, and I'm following the sound as well. So I'm not looking at arms, legs, hands, knees, or anything like that. All I could hear was the laughter as well around the place. That was really nice. Following the gestures that people made as they were dancing and not being dependent on the allure of colour and the emotion of colour, which as a painter is what really interests me as well. And I could see how people were much more fluid in their movements. There wasn't as much huffing and puffing.
Does it feel easier than the first time we would have done it?
Oh yeah.
I noticed such a big difference, you know, with like, even the flow, that's for me the main thing. Before there would have been like a stop, before we would have maybe done the second half. Now everyone's like, yeah, straight away, you know. There's like the brain is like figured out the patterns, which is amazing. Does it? Yeah. Yeah, you must have noticed.
I haven't seen anybody in a long time, so
yeah.
It's really fluid.
So obviously there was that physical strength came back to people and maybe confidence about people's ability to move. So I went from these gestural drawings, quite small ones, and then gradually building up to a series of larger drawings that echoed the gestures and shapes that the participants and Roisin were making. That expanded into a very long drawing which I made that's nearly 25 feet long. The main thing that we can all draw from this project is communication. The chats, the dancing, the music, the drawing. Just the joy in being with people, the joy of doing something that you wouldn't normally do. When we step outside our comfort zone, lots of magical things happen.